Hey everybody, before you watch the video, click subscribe. Would you please, pretty please? It would help us at Soul Boom so much. Click subscribe. I remember there were a couple stories about when I wanted to become an actor. And I know you have a similar story, and I want to hear about the community college story because both of our stories involve women. So I moved to this new high school outside of Chicago called New Trier that had this amazing theater program and a storied theater program. They had several theaters. They did like 9 productions a year, and they had guest directors, and it was crazy. I had moved from like working class suburban Seattle. My dad was a sewer man, and I moved into this like John Hughes kind of fairyland of these giant Tudor homes and these kids who got Porsches on their 16th birthday, and they had all this arts money, and I was this nerdy, pimply.
So how did a blue-collar sewer man become a Tudor living?
We didn't. I lived in the only apartment building within the radius of New Trier High School.
Oh, okay.
So the radius of the high school had one apartment building. Wow. It had like 16 units. It was kitty corner from the Linden Avenue L station, and we lived in that apartment building.
Okay.
So I was literally like the poor kid.
With all the rich kids.
It was like living a John Hughes movie. Yeah. So I really wanted to act. I signed up for my first acting class. We did this exercise called Private in Public, where you're just supposed to be like you're in your room
when
and
you're
no one's
a baker,
watching.
You pull out a loaf of bread. That one?
Just like that. Like as if dance as if no one is watching. And I did this dancing to this Elvis Costello song, and I brought in my turntable, and I was playing with my cat and being ridiculous, and it brought down the house, all this laughter. And this was literally like 9 days into my coming in as my junior year, coming into this fancy, very literate, artistic high school with this theater program. And then all of a sudden, all of these pretty girls surrounded me and were like, "Oh my God, you were so funny. And where are you from? And you moved here. You're from Seattle. Oh, I hear Seattle's nice. Will you sit at our lunch table? You should audition for the school play. Here's the flyer." Like, and I will never forget that like 2.5 minutes of my life where I was just like, And in my head, I was like, all the other pursuits that I had done before, playing the bassoon, being on the chess team, Model United Nations.
And for some reason, those things didn't catch the eye of women?
No. The bassoon, the Model United Nations, I thought that was going to be like a pussy trap.
That's sexy.
Yeah. I mean, I represented Iraq. I represented the Soviet Union. Do you know, I literally represented the USSR at the University of Washington for the regional competition of Model United Nations. That's a big responsibility.
Wow.
Nothing. But you do a little Elvis Costello crazy dancing in your room and make people laugh, and all of a sudden, so
you're not welcome in China, but you are in Russia.
I don't know that I represented them very well.
Oh,
I wanted to disarm.
2 down.
Yeah.
So we're now, we're running out of
all the
communist states,
authoritarian regimes.
Yes.
But I remember in that moment, like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
What I'm doing.
Yeah.
But going on to inspiration, and I'm sorry to make it the Rainn Wilson story hour, but I got cast as Alfred Doolittle in Pygmalion, the Shaw play that My Fair Lady is based on, and he's the Cockney father.
Right.
And opening night, I'm playing him, and I've got my whole character. Oi,
Right,
Eliza, come in here. Let me tell you a little bit about middle class morality. And I'm 17 and pimply and gangly, and I'm in there and I'm talking, and on the set dressing, there's a bowl with candies, and in front of the audience, and it was a big audience, like 500 people. In the middle of my monologue, I like say something. I turn, see the candies, pick up the bowl, open my pocket, pour the candies in my bowl, and set the bowl back down. Brings down the house.
Beautiful.
I had never done that before.
Yeah.
It was this completely inspiration moment.
It really was.
And then that was kind of like also the heavens opened up. That was the second time. Then it was like,
but the only reason it worked is because I think you were having fun, you were relaxed, you were concentrated, and you were in character, because that's exactly what that poor character would have done. Look how fancy this is.
the Soul Boom Podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you get your stupid podcasts.